All right, good afternoon, everyone. Man, we're dead, are we? Good afternoon, everyone. I want to congratulate you because it's not easy really to come on a Saturday afternoon for a talk like this. And I'm the bearer of bad news, right? Because I'm here to tell you all the risk. But I'll tell you something. At the end of today, you will go home feeling very positive. That the internet really has got a lot of good things for our kids and our family, but only if we choose to use it in the right way and we take appropriate steps to avoid going into the bad side of the internet. It's just like life, There's a lot of good things about life. There's a lot of bad things as well. And the first thing I'd say is that parenting online is not any different from parenting offline. So you need to take the steps. A long journey always starts with a single step, isn't it? So can I first have a show of hands? How many of you would you consider yourself to be tech savvy? That gentleman? Okay, cool. How many of you are on social networking sites? Okay. It's a good crowd we have here. It's a good crowd. All right. Just a bit about myself. Self-glorification here. I actually travel 50% of the time in my job. I head up the Norton business across 9 markets in the region. And I have 4 boys. It's kind of amazing. When I say I have 4 boys, people go like, what? And I always take that as a compliment. I have 4 boys aged 10, 9, 8, and 3. I'll show you a device. Okay, here's my device. Okay, I use a BlackBerry. Okay, and my 3-year-old kid, he knows how to use the laptop to access YouTube. 3-year-old. The laptop comes with what you call a touchpad. Okay, so he's very used to that touchpad that he's also accessing YouTube via my wife's iPhone. A touchpad as well. And now he uses my BlackBerry and uses the touchpad here with his little fingers to access YouTube. Yes, he's a YouTube addict at a very young age. So our kids grow up with the internet, really. Something we must forget about is the internet for our kids are not like ours. A lot of us think that the internet is this alien thing, right? Because we never grew up with it. Our kids grow up with it from a very, very young age. So that's something that I think we must be very conscious about. But remember, parenting offline is not any different from parenting online. Okay? Now, these are some of the stuff our kids are doing. I am sure that the parents are here today because you want to know how to address such issues, right? How can you get involved with your children's lives? It's interesting because when I used to give this sort of talk in my son's school, Temasek Primary, and the parents said, every time I go into the room, suddenly they want to switch screens or they close their laptop. Do your kids do that to you? It's kind of common, right? You're not alone, right? That's the good thing. So they do. So what are they doing really? Email, instant messaging, social networking, online gaming. These are all popular games. And I hear some questions just now about online gaming, for example. How do I get my kids not to play games so much? How can I control? I had a parent ask me this question. I get so angry, I just switch off the computer on him. So I said, so what happened then? He said, man, my son was angry. And I say, you know why? Well, I'll tell you why later on, okay? All right. A lot of Singaporeans, like many other people around the world, social networking is the in thing today. 1 in 2 Singaporeans actually do social networking. The figures are even higher amongst the younger ones. So they do a lot. Do we know what they do? Do you know where they access the internet? How many of you think you know? It's good, man. We'll try and get a prize for you, okay? Well, we did research. We do lots of research in Symantec, which is the world's #1 security company in the world. What parents think and what kids are really doing. Bottom line, we see a huge disparity between what parents think and what children actually do online. Okay? Just some Statistics for you. Kids are online 10 hours a week. That's what parents think. They're easily doing more than double that, right? And that's because they access internet from so many different places. How many of your kids have got mobile phones? Come on, don't be shy. Do you know whether they access the internet using mobile phones? They do? Do you know where they go? Which sites? Or they don't let you? They don't let you? All right. Well, they access today from a lot of other different places, not necessarily from home. So obviously what you're looking at online, when you see them, it's very, very different because they do a lot of those stuff outside of what you can see. All right? As parents, we always think our kids are the most angelic creatures in the world, right? That they don't do bad stuff. And, you know, very few parents think their kids do unlicensed or pirated materials and stuff, but 1 in 4 teens actually do that, you know. And it's quite interesting for parents. You need to try and take interest in this because, you know, you never know when the next lawsuit is going to come at your doorstep, right? Because your kid happens to have violated some sort of copyrighted materials. It's very easy. How many of you have heard of BitTorrent? BitTorrent is a software that's bordering on illegal, right? So what it does is essentially just, plainly speaking, I could put together a song, right, by downloading it from various different sources. And these various different sources can then combine and give me the song. Very difficult to detect because I took it from several sources. Who's going to come after me? Now, that's a form of piracy, though, which you should make sure that your kids don't get into. And part of the reason is because actually those kind of sites contain a lot of viruses, malicious software, and so on. So it can get into your machine. That's one of the reasons. Okay? I'll give you some more. Almost all parents think their kids don't access pornography. Almost all of them, right? But actually 1 in 5 teens do. You'd be surprised. I don't know whether the figure would be higher or lower. These are Singapore-specific figures. Okay? Our kids do chat with strangers on the internet. So, I don't know, how many of you again are in social networking sites? Hands up? Hands up? Okay, let me ask you. How many friends do you have on your social networking account? Hundreds? No? Typically, a lot of people have hundreds and thousands, right? But actually, I always like to ask them, how many friends do you actually have in real life? Do you have 100 or 1,000? You don't typically. The strange thing is, everywhere I've gone, in all the markets I've spoken to, typically people have more friends online than offline. Why? Because they may be like my wife. My wife finds it very difficult to say no. People want to become your friend. Not very nice to say no, right? Never mind no harm, right? Add as a friend. No harm, right? That's not a very good thing, to be honest. In real life, when you have a stranger coming up to you at a shopping center and say, I want to be your friend, what do? You say, no harm lah, let's be friends. You don't do that, right? Strangely, you do that online. And a lot of our younger ones are exposed to that. So I'll tell you a real case in Indonesia. It's still being investigated by the police now. There's this girl, she's very new to Facebook, and you know, in their enthusiasm to add more friends, right? Those of you who've used Facebook before, wow, you keep on adding friends, right? Your long-lost friends, long-lost girlfriend, boyfriend, auntie, uncle, everybody also you add, right? So this girl added someone which she didn't quite know, but just wanted to be a friend. So they had on and off conversations and stuff.